Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku podcast. I am Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet Fan here, and I'm excited to be back in the Amateur Otaku pod to talk awesome and bizarre anime goodness with you guys. If you love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku podcast, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share with the friends. Make sure you click on that bell for notifications so you don't miss any episodes of awesome, great stuff. Also, we're available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, where all podcasts are found. If you want to hear us scream and talk and enjoy and laugh and cry and cringe on all the different brands and styles and taste of different anime that we cover here at the Amateur Otaku Pod. And as you guys know, I don't do this by myself. Brandon, the Amateur Otaku, does not talk about anime by himself. He always does it by cohorting a person, a man, a stand, or someone that we have trained together for years in the art of common anime reviewing. And that is Isaac Wolf. And I gotta admit, that's the corniest and weirdest way I've ever introduced you. But if I don't do it, then you don't pay me.
Everything is a reference.
That is so. Oh my. So, hi Isaac, how you doing?
It's going good. Chaos as usual, but it's going good.
Yes. Are you ready to talk about this thing? I don't even know if it's a show. I think it's a thing. This is like
Yeah,
the
that's.
weirdest. This is the weirdest, interesting, boring, exciting. This show is so many things in one. Um, and I only have one thing to say about it. I only got one thing to say, and it's the thing that we hear over and over and over again throughout the first two parts of this show. And you know what that is?
Harmon energy. Uh,
Jojo!
yeah.
Like I think there's like a quota. They have to scream JoJo's name at least 6 times in every episode. If not, I don't think it works. It kind of feels that
Uh,
way.
yeah, that's an understatement. It's almost like the quote of a Dragon Ball episode charging their attacks for half of the episodes.
Of course. But then again, at least JoJo is better than ah.
Uh,
It's better than
that,
pushing down a turd of KO Ken
I
power.
mean, do you have some stomach issue? Then of course you're gonna sound like a cat putting it in the wrong hole. But that's a different story.
What in the that is such a bizarre way of leading this conversation. Um, but yes, ladies and
It's me
gents,
we're talking about, and this is a bizarre experience.
yes, actually, it's an adventure. Dun-dun-dunks. So, guys, we're gonna talk about an anime sensation that's been going on for years. I just found out it's way older than me. At least the manga is. And that is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And in this episode, we're going to give our thoughts of part one, Phantom Blood, and part two, Battle Tendency. We're trying to get caught up with the anime because it was announced recently, or rather recently, that the third part, the sixth part of the manga is getting an anime adaptation, which is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, and it's going to be released on Netflix. And it looks like it's going to be a Netflix exclusive of sorts, or like Netflix has acquired the rights to put it out there. And Netflix recently added the first four parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on Netflix, which is, of course,
Mm.
part one, Phantom Blood, part two, Battle Tendency, part three, Stardust Crusaders, and part four, Diamond is Unbreakable. I don't think there is an anime adaptation, at least on Netflix, of Golden Wind, which is the manga's part five. Um, but yes, there's more JoJo coming. Apparently, the manga is getting ready. Can you believe it, Isaac? This manga started back in June 1st, 1987. It started a year, damn it. Um, and right now they're getting ready to announce a part 9. There's a lot going on. Like, this is a long running manga. A lot of people love it. I mean, but for the many years that it's been around, it has doesn't have like a lot of volumes. Like, it only has 131 volumes. I mean, it's a lot, but when you think about it, it's not a crazy amount. Like, they've been very selective with the stories that they've told, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of breaks in between, because, well, 131 volumes is not the same as 131 chapters. So that's a lot of volumes. Actually, I digress. It's a lot of volumes. um, to think about the fact that Attack on Titan has how many volumes? 34 volumes, I think it is. Um,
I believe so.
it had 34 volumes and it took them, what, 10 years? So to think that
Mm,
JoJo's, yeah, it was almost 10 years for the manga itself. And to think that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has been going on for almost 34 years, 131 volumes is staggering. How many volumes does One Piece have?
I have lost count. I can. Hmm. How many? It's One Piece. Uh,
Apparently, there's 98
yeah,
of the of,
98.
of the English version. So you got to think that there might be more. So let's see.
100 plus. Let's go with that.
Let's go with 100 plus. Damn it. Um, yeah, the volume number 100 just came out to just came out last month, like the original Japanese one. So they just hit 100, and One Piece has been going on since 1997. So it's 10 years younger than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But still, it's nuts. JoJo Bizarre
But that,
Adventure. Go ahead.
but the One Piece is pretty much only weekly, with some exception of him Oda taking a break, and Oda is known for being work alcoholic, or whatever you want to call it, in terms of family friendly man. Okay,
He's
I'm
he's a,
I should.
he loves spending time in the ocean. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, I mean, it's a very impressive feat, for this kind of show. And what I mean by this kind of show is that those that have seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, know that this show is weird. Like, and it's not weird like weird, hilarious, funny weird like Zintama. You know what I mean? Like, this show, the animation style is very peculiar. Its use of colors, the lore is convoluted, but they try to.
That's an
No, no, no. The
understatement.
lore is convoluted, and they try to make it simplified by making extensive exposition a key trait of the show, which is so weird because you would assume that excessive exposition, especially during battles, would be horrible and boring. But for some reason, you just love these stupid characters. You know what I mean? Like,
It,
you kind of grow to like these characters, so you just go like, okay, let's go with it. You know what I mean? Like the most of this.
you,
Go ahead.
you can you know how Shonen Jump series gets flagged on how people always talk about their strengths and weaknesses during the fights and all that. Yes,
Yes.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure take that cliche and ramp it up to 1000% at minimum.
Yes. It's over 9,000. Like,
Yeah.
it's that, and it's that bad. But there's something about the characters. It's like they are so over the top. and they kind of know they're over the top. It's like there's a fourth wall there. You know what I mean? Like all these characters know that they're over the top and they're being over the top, but it kind of works. And I don't know why. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is literally. I think I've described it multiple times to you in private chat, and this is the biggest thing that makes the show bizarre to me. It's not just the fact that you have battles and powers and stuff like that. Is that this is over dramatized Helsing? It's about
We're
it's about
traumatized.
yes,
Specifically
over
the first
dramatized
part.
Helsing. What was that?
Specifically the first part. Maybe not
Yeah,
exactly the second one to
yeah. The
same
second,
extent, but
but there's still, but you still have like those elements. There's still blood sucking. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
all this stuff about humans and vampires. I never would have imagined that this was a story about literally. It's like over the top dramatized Castlevania. You know, like the Joe Stars are the Belmonts, and everything in regards to Dio and the Stone Mass is Dracula. Like that's technically what's going on. And there's like traveling around the world. There's getting items, and it's like I'm just waiting for Bloody Tears to like start playing in the background. Like it's weird and it's crazy and it's over the top. And I like the fact that it has the word bizarre on the name, but lives up to it. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're not supposed to think, oh, it's JoJo's Adventure. No, it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So get ready for a hell of a ride. um, I I still don't know how I feel about the whole thing. I mean, it's all about so to do a quick synopsis, right? So Jonathan Joestar is the son of this guy that's like super rich, right? And this kid, Dio Brando, whose father saved Papa Joestar um, from death, um, he comes to the house and tries to usurp the sonship and the inheritance from Jonathan to become rich and rule the world or whatever it is. So in the midst of this regular kind of sibling rivalry or from being this kind of political or social rivalry or fight, it suddenly takes this crazy twist because of this weird stone mask or whatever that whoever puts it on becomes a vampire. And like, what in the was I the first? Was I the only one that went like, "What the fuck?" Whenever, whenever that happened, were you
Maybe
expecting that,
I've seen
Isaac?
enough weird that someone would have that mask they were showing off at the beginning would have some form of supernatural ability and was going to affect Dio to become that. To me, that it is, yeah,
Well, that's the thing. I believe that there was something where they would become like a monster or something, but no, no, no. They're vampires, like specifically vampires. And like there's nothing. I mean, you could say that most vampire stories take place in 1800 London or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it had all those little traits, right? But at the
yeah,
same time, it's like when they start using in the first part Jack the Ripper or whatever. Um, but yeah, like it's crazy how it uses all these elements to create this narrative, and then it becomes like a generational kind of thing, and it's so weird, but so interesting. And it's like they don't care how convoluted it sounds; they're gonna make you understand that yes, it's all connected. like they go out of their way to make sure that you know that everything's a damn it. I'm about to say it. Everything's a reference. I didn't want to say it, but everything's a reference. Um,
I will have to say this though. I will have to say this though. Dio is so over the top villain that I actually rolled my eyes whenever he spoke. Patrick
yes,
Seitz is a fantastic voice actor. He's a legend in his field, and you can clearly tell that he had a blast recording his lines.
See,
I
now
mean,
now I want to go back and watch part one in dub now, just because of what you just said. Because I think I watched
and
dubbed as a whole. I watched it subbed.
you know who you want to know who the voice of Jonathan is?
Who?
Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh, the Power Ranger.
Yeah. Also Ichigo
Nice.
or Colonel Crowley.
Ooh, nice. So Ichigo fights hollows and Jonathan fights vampires. Come on now. That can't be a coincidence. It's all connected, Isaac. No. Um
And they all, and then later on they have some other big names, but that we can go through later. Keith Silverstein is Robert E. O. Speedwagon, aka Mr. Exposition guy, I would call him.
Yo. Okay, so let's talk about guys, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is available on Netflix. Y'all got to go watch it there if you're interested and ready to go on a hell of a drive.
I'm not wrong. That
No, you're not.
guy's
No.
entire role is to speak.
Yes. No.
And do exposition.
Actually, no. That's not his entire role. There's variety, and we're going to talk about it in a second. But I just want to let people know where they can watch JoJo. They can watch JoJo on Netflix. And now we're just going to jump into Phantom Blood because we've been talking about JoJo for a while. But yes. So let's talk about the side characters. So we know Jonathan Joestar is our hero, right? Arena Pendleton, love interest. Dio Brando is our villain slash Dracula slash um, overly muscled person, because everybody here is overtly muscled. We have Baron Zeppeli, which everybody knows is probably a tribute to Led Zeppelin, but we're not going to talk about that. And then we have Robert E. Speedwagon, like you said, who, yes, he is Mr. Exposition, but also he is slash crying little bitch, because that is all he does. That's all he does. Like you know how Krillin gets on everybody's nerves, but all he does is like commentary, like do commentary on battles, but he does it from a place of fear and pissing his pants. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Speedwagon is worse because he has no powers. So he's like it's so funny how even like in Battle Tendency, I know I'm going forward, but in the second part, he's in a freaking wheelchair with a strap-on vest or whatever it is, and this wheelchair is shaking. Like, and of course, all you hear, he's one of the main culprits. Every 5 seconds, he's Jojo! And you're like, it's yeah. Yes.
I mean,
Yes,
he
Mr.
starts off with, he kind of has a cool hat and all with saw blades and all. Then he has, his honor, he has to be spared. Oh, yo, we need to do that. Oh, yo.
And you know what's funny?
You were,
I kind of
you had the guts to attack him before. You can show your battle skill somewhat, dude.
And you know what's funny? Like in the beginning when they introduce him. So as the story progresses, so in Phantom Blood, so we have the whole thing with Dio arriving to the house, right? And trying to rob the Joe Stars of their money, and like he's kind of being a very big dick to Jonathan, Jonathan Joestar, our hero. And but then as they grow older, and Dio is almost ready to effectuate his plan, and he's trying to poison Papa Joestar. I don't know his name, so he's Papa.
Let me check the name.
Papa Joestar works, Isaac.
Fine.
You don't have to fix that. Papa
George
Joestar.
Joestar.
What?
George Joestar to be exact.
So Papa Joestar is is sick because Dio's poisoning him, and Jonathan, which by the way, he's the ultimate gentleman because of course our hero has to be the ultimate gentleman for reasons. I think it has to do with the era. I think. Um,
Yeah.
so it has to do with the era, you know, gentlemanness and chivalry and all that stuff. And then suddenly, he uh he goes to this place. It's like Diagon Alley, which is like just dark and horrible. And he encounters Speedwagon and a group of thugs. So when they introduced Speedwagon and he has this blade a la Kun Lao, which by the way, his hat with blades, it's older than Kun Lao. So Speedwagon did it first. It wasn't Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat. Speedwagon did first. Or was it the guy from James Bond? Who was it? Was it James Bond guy? You know what I'm talking about? Odd Job, I think
I
it
don't
is.
know.
Like there's this big fat henchman that
Honest, honestly, I have only seen three Bond movies, and that's two of the Craig era and one of Pierce Brosnan's. I can't speak for that part if I'm being completely honest.
so let's see. Oh, he's a villain in 1959. Holy crap. So he's older than. So I guess Odd Job inspired Speedwagon. Speedwagon inspired. It's all a reference, damn it. So you've
So
planted.
much referential humor.
It is so bad. This podcast is going to get so many hate, so much hatred, and then they're going to reference our podcast into why they hate the world. But yeah, so Speedwagon is the way Speedwagon is introduced. I'm thinking, okay, he attacked. He was a quote unquote bad guy, but he's trying to make a living. But then Jonathan's honor wins him over to become a better man. And I'm thinking, okay, so he's going to be Jonathan's friend and he's going to like train with Jonathan and become stronger and all that stuff, right? But no, he's just he's just additional weight that the only heroic thing he ever did was use his belly fat to 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 bring warmth to Baron Sepali, which is scientifically accurate but weird. Um And you know what's funny?
Also,
I find it hilarious that you know how Baron Sepali, which we're gonna talk to him in a minute, how Baron Sepali awoke like Jonathan's power, right? He gave him like a weird gut punch or whatever that released his
yeah,
hormone or blah blah. I love how when he did that to Speedwagon, nothing happened. Like like you are you you don't have it in you. Like you don't have the hormone stuff in you. And yeah, there's a lot. Um, but I'm talking a lot, and there's no order in what we're saying. But this show is crazy. So vampires, sunlight, hormone, which apparently hormone is the equivalent of key, and and everything's in overdrive, and it's all about breathing, and it's like super simple the way they explain it, but none of the attacks make sense because is it just me or it feels like too much and too little happens in part one. Like there's a lot that
it's
happens.
also it's plot convenient that the anime slash manga, if you really think about it, because it's just, oh, they solved it, that, oh, that character just so happens to be alive, oh, that character just happened to be there, oh, they just happened to arrive in the last second, oh, that happened,
Yep.
that happened, that
Yep.
happened.
Yep. Yep.
I
Like
mean, they are.
the plot armor of these characters is crazy.
I mean, for example, when they're gonna say that little kid's sister from the town that Dia has taken over,
Yeah.
of course she is essentially the only one that he has spared, and
Exactly.
of course they are
Exactly.
going, and of course they are arriving the second he has. They are there to stop him. which is
Exactly.
just plot convenience in a nutshell. I mean, it's all fine and good with plot convenience just to make solve it over, but if you had a drinking game for every time there was a plot convenience, this you would be drunk after half an episode.
Tell me, how does it make sense, right? You've never showed me how Hamon can hold things together, right? Like, you show me what Hamon is as a power and how it can bring life or whatever. How the hell does Hamon hold 1,000 leaves together to create a paraglider out of nowhere that can hold 4 people and is faster than a giant? Like, how does that make sense? It doesn't. But that is what it
Like I
is.
said,
It's
like I
bizarre.
said, like I said, this is plot convenience. The series, and if you took a sip of alcohol for every time it was a plot convenience, it would be uh, dr- uh, dead set drunk in after half
Yep.
the episode.
Yep. And the funny thing is, you say that, and like the plot convenience gets worse on part two. Like, that's just like, yeah, it's like worse. Like, it's really bad. But before we get to
Let's.
part two,
I have to say though, Jonathan is so boring as a character. He
because
is
he's
so boring.
because he because he has no dimensions, in the sense, like, he's like your typical cut and dry hero. But keep in mind, you got to think about the time. It's 1987 when this came out. You know what I mean?
Still, you can write good, good characters in that time period.
Well, I'm
At
not
some
saying.
time, at times it felt like it was a parody of a hero of that era. If and it failed miserably.
I mean, but I think it, for being the archetype hero that it was, I think it was okay. I'm not saying it's great, but I think it was okay. Just like Dio Brando, he was like way over the top. Like, and that's also very interesting about the show, which I applauded to a degree, that they go all in on everything they do. Like, when they get gory, it's gory and crazy. Like, I was not expecting the whole thing with the mother and the baby. Like, I didn't know they were gonna go that far. You know what I mean?
I was pretty. I found it kind of obvious, in honestly considering how they set up that scene.
No, no, no. I also knew that it was gonna happen, but I didn't know that they were gonna show it. You know what I mean? Like, this show, like, when it gets gory, it's like really gory and bloody. You know what I mean? Which I don't think you would expect something like that from something this. But then you think about it. How old is Berserk? Because Berserk is crazy, and I know that. Berserk is probably as old as this one,
Verse,
right?
let me check.
Yeah.
We need
Do
to
you
cover
know?
that original anime if we get the chance to. That CGI reboot, hell no.
Let me see. It started 2 years after.
Yeah,
Did
I
that
couldn't still
manga
stand. We need
ever
to cover.
was that manga ever finished?
It was ongoing even before the mangaka died, but apparently he had garnered some assistants that learned his way of drawing stuff prior to it. Also, I think he planned ahead so they could continue it without him,
Yeah.
honestly. But as far as I'm aware, Berserk is on a hiatus at least.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But anyway, have we enough of part one and go to part two?
well, before we do that, I like how there's all this plot convenience, right? Plot convenience after plot convenience. The hero lives. But I like how the one thing that kind of justifies or makes the whole plot convenience pill to swallow a little better is the fact that Jonathan dies. He doesn't win at the end, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like for all the plot convenience, he does die. There is sadness in the hero's family. And then fast forward, his descendant has to deal with a descendant of evil or whatever. You know what I mean? And I find that as an interest. I find that to be a very interesting mechanic in terms of storytelling. How because you're able to play in different time periods. You're able to play in different cultures. You're able to expand the narrative in different ways because you're able to modernize the story. Um, I think that's a very interesting plot thing because to think about it, like, and I don't think a lot of shows have done this, like, or at least haven't done it this way because you know how, like One Piece, literally, he's just traveling through the ocean and the lands, so he's going all over the world, and the different areas in the world that he goes, he's going to encounter resistance, a storyline, and other villains and whatever, right? That's so like the driving mechanic of the storytelling is reaching the farthest areas of the world. Does that make sense? So here is not bound by that. It goes into time, different areas, generations. But also, I don't know if you knew this, but I was kind of reading like some of the newer parts take place in alternate timelines. Like it's crazy. Like it gets even more bizarre.
I'm not surprised. And you do know
So
that we have to cover One Piece at one point, right?
stop screaming at me. I know.
I mean, it's true.
I know. Straw hat. But yeah, so let's talk about part one, Phantom Blood. I give it, if I were gonna do a 10 out of 10 or whatever. I mean, for what it is, because I think they commit so well to everything, I'm gonna give it a 7.5. What do you think?
Better than Sword Art Online, but that doesn't say much out of 10.
You bastard. Now, but you haven't given it give it a number or give it a letter or I don't know, give it the middle finger. I don't know. Give it something.
That's my grading. Better than Sword Art Online, but that doesn't say much.
Okay, so that's bad. So
Take
let's
that as you
go.
will.
So part two is Battle Tendency, which I don't understand why the title. Although I could say that the title is probably because of the whole warrior code, honor code, training montage, blah 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 blah. Because there's a lot more of this going on. So part one takes place from episodes 1 through 10, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or is it 1 through 9?
Yeah.
Let me see. Is it 1 through 9 or 1 through 10? Let me see. Da, 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 da. By the way, the intro for part two, so catchy.
The intro
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
in this series is probably the best part in the entire series in my book, but that's a
So
different
yeah,
story.
so true. So part one is episodes 1 through 9, and then part two, Battle Tendency, from episode 10 to 16. So part two follows Joseph Joestar, which is pretty much Jonathan Joestar's grandson, in dealing with new villains and monsters that have arisen but the stone mask is still a thing. Vampires are kind of still a thing. Um, but yeah, it's all about eliminating evil, I think. I kind of find like nothing happens, but a lot happens. Does that make sense? Like the plot is not something like, it's a very simple plot. You got these
I will
weird
say
creatures that
this.
come.
I will say this. This is a much better part in the first part, in my book.
It is, though I don't understand why we're fighting peoples and underoos. I mean, I do get that they're
Because this
probably
is
like,
Jojo.
yeah, we have to see a lot of bodybuilders. Um, there's something about the guy. The guy just like to draw people in bodybuilding outfits with perfect physiques.
In I mean, there's a joke around in the anime community on how a lot of homosexual undertones there is in this series, and part two in particular just makes that particularly obvious in my book.
There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that, but it's not in like in the forefront. Like it's that's not what the show is about. But then again, like this is one of those shows.
No,
Like
no, no, no. I'm not saying that it is, but how they, uh, how should I put it? How all the poses, how they talk with each other, all that jazz. It just
yeah,
would I even know it better? I would think it was a battle yaoi anime, and that's not
yeah.
particularly a bad thing, but it just I can see what people are talking about when it comes to homosexual undertones.
Yeah, yeah. Now, here, Joseph Joestar is not the greatest protagonist either. I think what makes this and it's so funny because you know how most animes, no matter how weird they are, you kind of like want to get behind the main character, right? But Joseph's kind of like he's kind of a dick. I
Something
mean, he's a good guy,
yeah,
but I
I
feel
actually
that
prefer him to his. I think he is more interesting to follow than his grandfather, but that's me.
no,
Also,
no, I don't disagree
just
with you. I don't disagree with you, but like I kind of feel that I like that he has a lot of. I like the character development, but I feel that it took me. I don't know. I kind of get tired of the shenanigans that at least surround this particular kind of this Joe Star hero. Like he always has a trick of his sleeve, and it's always a sleight of hand, and the sleight of hand is kind of stupid, and it's called plot convenience, and it's like you know what I mean, like and it's not even like you know what I mean, like it's not even like a sleight of hand like a magician. Is that okay? So by the way, I'm burning my scarf. Oh, but what you didn't notice is that I used my feet, even though my shoes are on, to make knots with my feet to the rope and to your feet, and that's how I saved us. And that's the kind of thing where I'm like, yo, what? What? And
By the
then whenever
way, part
and
two.
then and of course, his key thing is like, now the next thing you're gonna say is I like bananas. I like bananas. And then the colors change. Oh like
Also, for part two in particular, the dub has some serious, just insane voice cast. Benjamin Diskin, Wendy Lieb, Rice Paperbook, uh, Michelle Rolfe, Robbie Damon, and just I do believe Ray Chase has a voice in both Star Dust Crusader and this one. Yeah, yeah, he has a part in this voice in this in this part also. Ray Chase and
now
Robbie Damon is fucking everywhere.
now I gotta admit, I do like part two better. I'm not gonna lie, even though I'm kind of like shitting on it right now. But I do like it better. I do like the fact that we spent more time developing the lore to a degree. I think the fact that we had a more extensive hormone training thing with him kind of allows you to enjoy more the development that he has because there's a lot of character development for JoJo, for Caesar, but also a lot of growth as a fighter. You know what I mean? So you see a lot of that, and that's
Yeah,
enjoyable to watch. But these battles, the excessive exposition on every single battle it's it's nuts. I
What do you
To
think?
me it's too much. To me it's too
What do
much,
you think?
and I
Why do
hope
you
that it.
think they say that? Why do you think they say that this is arguably the worst when it comes to the whole? This is my power, and blah blah blah. But
No,
okay,
I
but this
know,
is
but
my
it's
power,
like
blah blah
it's
blah.
ridiculous. Like the whole thing, like one of the most ridiculous ones, like the whole thing with Caesar Zeppelin, right? Of course, this
Yeah,
is what like this is the first part where you start seeing the generation thing go be there, right? Um,
yeah.
so we have the descendant of Baron Zeppeli, and we have the descendant of Jonathan Joestar, Papa Joestar, and so when they're fighting in the fountain, so apparently Zeppelin kisses with Hamo and this girl. This girl chokes Joseph. Joseph hormones a pigeon. I have no idea how he does it. Puts it inside this girl's mouth, and then it ends up inside of Caesar's mouth because reasons. And of course, everything's explained, and it's all about this is my trump card, this is my upper hand, this is everything. And like every battle is like has like the same kind of rhythm. And it's like I don't know if it's because that's what the author likes, but part of me kind of thinks I think he I think the author do you think it is the author's intention to piss viewers off?
Um,
You know what I mean? You know, like, do you think that his intention is to be overly crazy like this, to just have people get pissed off with it to a degree, but then watch it anyway and
I mean,
enjoy it, or I don't know. I wonder how
I
bad it
mean,
is in the manga. Do you think in
I
the
mean,
manga it's
I,
worse or it's the same?
I have no idea. Maybe it was that the mangaka could see into the future and knew about the meme culture, and okay, this is how I can be successful with a manga. Because I mean, what this manga, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is known as a meme series. And that's not a theory. That's a fact.
It's crazy, bro. It is just crazy.
And what do you think about the quote unquote twist with Lisa though?
Oh, the twist? I have no idea.
Or should I say,
Well, you know what? It kind of makes sense to me because we never know where the hell Joseph Joestar came from. Because keep in mind, we don't find out that Irina was pregnant. Like they kind of mention it in the beginning, but they don't really mention it till the reveal of the Lisa thing. You know what I mean? Like you never find out that they actually, you know, had a baby or she was pregnant.
wow wow?
Because for the longest time they do point I knew the baby that she saved. And you know what's funny because I was kind of wondering about that because you know that when Lisa is saved or whatever, right? Um didn't Lisa I mean not Lisa, Irina. When Irina was saved from the explosion in the boat in part 1, didn't she we never knew she was pregnant. We only knew that she saved that baby, which we find out as
Yeah.
Lisa. But then we find out that apparently she was pregnant, and that's where Joseph Joestar comes from. Which, okay, cool. That answers the genealogy thing, I think. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of those. Oh, that makes sense. Duh. But then again, you go back and you're like, oh, so we let him watch his
Also, can
mother
I?
naked. So
Uh, Also, can we also agree that this was bullshit with Joseph being 19 in that arc?
yes. Well,
I
his
remember. I know. I remember when Lisa.
Jonathan Joestar died when he was 19.
Sure. I remember when I saw that when they showed the clip at the end of it when with his supposed tombstone, and it just counted and it said 19 years old, and me and my sister who was watching this series with me, we just 19. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yes.
I will admit though, the joke about how his wife forgot to text him that he survived. So bullshit.
Yo. Yeah,
Uh,
that she forgot to send a telegram or whatever. And you're like,
yeah,
yeah.
I will admit that was kind of funny. Although how he survived returning from the Earth orbit was kind of bullshit in my
Yeah.
book.
Yes. Because you and I both know that that rock would have crumbled up and he would burn to death because
Or
science.
or
But
if
of course, science
or if
doesn't matter because we have a German guy that came back from the dead after his body blew up into pieces. He came back twice, and
and
apparently
he
his hand comes out of nowhere. Plot convenience. I think his fingers say plot convenience in the middle. And what is it with this part and hands flying around? We have Wamu's hands flying on top of Jojo. We have Jojo's hand flying over to cars. And then we have freaking Stroheim's hands flying. Does this guy like Adam's family? I mean, what's going on with the hands?
yeah. Also, can we both agree that Madara Uchiha isn't the most overpowered character in anime at this point, all things
Uh,
considered?
I'm not gonna say that because I mean I'm not gonna say Cars is the most powerful. Is that what you were going for? That Cars was the most powerful?
Yeah, but it was clear that how should I put it? It felt kind of it felt almost pretty much Stephen King y with how they ended that fight in my book. And you know what I mean with Stephen King y?
Oh, that it was like they don't really kill anyone. They just like beat it
No, they he painted himself in the corner.
like the monster. You mean?
Yeah, how they defeated Cars.
Yeah, yeah,
And he kind of painted himself in the corner because he was so overly powerful.
yeah, yeah. He did paint him. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like
This is Yo-Yo.
yeah, but and he's overly powerful, and he's like the most powerful being in the universe. But they never beat him. But there is no way that a volcanic eruption can send something into space.
This is Yo-Yo's Bizarre when sure, are you
Right, right.
really
And
that
of course,
surprised?
the explanation is this stone works as a hormone amplifier, and his hormone was extra powerful. And when the hormone hits the lava, blah 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 blah. But it's like, how would he have known that it would go up to space? Because that's kind of like, you know what I mean? And then of course his hand comes out of nowhere, and it's Jojo's hand because reasons. There's a lot of hand throwing. I hate hands now.
I
But yes,
mean,
yes, plot convenience. But I still
uh,
enjoyed it. I mean, the
uh,
intro is great. I do find it kind of interesting how the outro is the same for both part one and part two. It's like the same song. Um, I don't know. I'm interested to see how it plays out. So I was kind of looking into while you were reading, I was like I might be interested in reading the books. So Jojo, so Phantom Blood is like 3 books, 3 volumes. Battle Tendencies 4. Stardust Crusaders is the longest one. It's like 10. And then you got Diamonds Unbreakable, which is another 6, and Golden Wind. I think they're in the Viz manga app, so I can probably read them there. But I might start reading JoJo. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But
It shall be interesting to see what you think of Stardust Crusader. Me and my sister started watching it, consider all things considered, with it being 48 episodes, and we are going to cover it all.
yeah, yeah. And apparently, is Diamond Unbreakable like a direct sequel to it? Is that what it is? I mean, everything's a
Stardust Crusader.
reference, and everything's a direct sequel to everything. But
And this is a kind of a direct sequel. You saw the end credits with quote the end scene with
well, I actually saw the first
him be
episode of Stardust.
yeah
So because
yeah.
I
Then
wanted
you
to
know that
see
it's then you know it's a direct continuation because he is visiting
grandson
his
Jotaro,
grandson,
which I kind of think that
which
Jotaro
is
is gonna. Go ahead.
Yutari. Yutari is the most popular and well known JoJo character also.
And I kind of think I know why. I mean, I like his thing. I like the idea of the stands. Um, but by the way, he's a teenager.
Yep.
I mean, these guys, like, I don't understand. I don't get it. He's a teenager and he's built like a mountain.
I mean,
But then again, the
I mean,
point
the
is to be
mountain
bizarre.
in. I mean, the mountain in Game of Thrones. That actor is 24 years old. No, sorry, 25 years old. So mid-20s, that could be one thing, but teenager? No, 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 no. That's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes. But yeah, I had I'm gonna say I had fun watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but like you guys have heard throughout this hour, way too long episode, it's just crazy. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is crazy. Too much exposition, interesting battles, but the characters, I think they're fun to watch to a degree. They're all overly dramatized, and I think now after watching the first episode of Stardust Crusaders, I kind of feel that it's a lot more. The animation's better. I'm gonna start with that. Like way better.
Yeah, that's absolutely that's way there. That's 100% true. True.
But it looks also
And
that I think that a lot of these over dramatic tendencies are starting to go down a tad. Like it's becoming a more serious take on it to a degree. I
I
mean,
don't know about that part.
I've only seen the first episode. I mean, the fact that Jotaro calls his mother a bitch, I don't know what to take from that. But I mean, I'm interested in seeing more. It's probably gonna take me a while for me to finish the season, but when we finish part 3, we're definitely gonna cover Stardust Crusaders here at the Amateur Otaku podcast. But so let's talk about the villains real quick before we go, because I do like Caesar Sepeli, even though I kind of wanted to see more of him. I think his final stand was, I think, pretty admirable and pretty cool. I mean, of course,
Stand. Are you? We aren't
stop it,
We aren't
stop
talking about
it.
part 3 now.
No, um, there's no final stand better than Wolfwood from Trigun. I think that's one of the best final stands in anime history. I think. Um, but Caesar Sepeli was awesome. Um, now the villain Cars. Um, he was boring. I found
Yeah,
Wamu. Wamu, which by the way is the funniest name ever. I found Wamu to be a
Well,
more interesting villain.
yeah, he was a far more interesting villain because he had some. I wouldn't say that he's a four-dimensional character or whatever you want to call it, but he had at least some more depth than the other two bodybuilders with
Yes.
that.
Yeah, I think Cars is the better villain or the better character of the three.
I mean,
Um,
Valma is the better villain, and not Cars.
Wamu, yes, yes, and it's funny because the Cars was just I don't know, he was just too much. Like the
He's
story to
like
me, the story to me lost steam right after that Wamu fight. You know what I mean? And,
he
and
was
the
like Tio in my book. He was like Tio to me. He was just so over the top evil that I just rolled my eyes and honestly.
Yep, yep, yep. Oh, by the way, and the fact that his first move as an ultimate being was to make his hand a squirrel, but a vampire squirrel. That's kind of weird.
This is Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, and honestly, I did question if that was a Monty Python reference. I don't know if you have seen Monty Python.
As in the Black Knight Monty Python?
Hunt for the Holy Grail, and that one.
Maybe. It could have been.
Considering I mean, the monster spoiler for that Monty Python movie, but the monster that they need to kill in order to get the treasure is a killer rabbit.
It's a killer
So,
rabbit.
yeah. It looks like a harmful rabbit until they attack, and then it goes to the attack and all that, yes.
Oh no, but you know who knew that that squirrel was evil? Speedwagon.
Mm, yeah. Mr.
Take it away.
Exposition! Mr. Exposition!
So I wonder if anybody's going to fill Speedwagon's shoes. Is anybody going to become Mr. Exposition
Yeah.
on Stardust Crusaders?
Yeah, there
Um,
is already one that is, but I won't say. I won't mention that character because you will uh, you will find out in the next episode.
okay. So, guys, I think if you guys have noticed, we're flabbergasted by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I mean, it's fun. To me, is it a high end, breathtaking show? It's not.
No,
Is it funny and interesting at times? Yes. Is it a good thing to watch if you're bored and you want to watch something interesting or different? And emphasize the word different. There I say, if you want to watch something bizarre and strange and somewhat entertaining, I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is cool. And there's plenty of JoJo to go around and plenty of JoJo to come. And apparently there's a live action adaptation of part four,
there
supposedly.
is a live action. There is a live action adaptation of Yo-Yo. I don't know what part it is, so I can't.
Yeah, I think it's from
I can't comment on
It's
that one.
Diamond Unbreakable. Let me double check. I think I was looking at it, and there's a live action movie of yeah. It's for Diamond is Unbreakable. It's for the second. It's for the fourth part. So yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. But I think that's all we got, man. I think that's
Yeah,
all we got. You got anything else to say about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part One and Two?
damn, that's just crazy.
Actually, that's the best way. If you guys ask the amateur talk about JoJo, we'll say it's a bizarre and crazy ride. So, from me to you, thank you for joining us at the Amateur Otaku Podcast. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell for notifications. Let us know what you think. about the show. If you love JoJo, let us know why you love it. Maybe there's certain things that we missed, or maybe we haven't gotten that far into the series to find out why you love it. So stay
But
tuned for more coverage
before
of JoJo
before you
down the
go,
line.
you gave the part. You gave the first part of score, but not the second one. So what's your score there?
7. I kind of like the first part a little more, a tad more.
I like the second part more. So I say better than the first part, and definitely better than Sword Art Online out of 10. Take that as you will.
I love how your rating is a non-starter. Like it's like your rating is like you're not trying to say anything, but you're trying to say something. I like what you're doing.
Thanks.
But yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, click on the bell for notifications to Amateur Otaku on YouTube. And if you like to listen to our podcast, go to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, wherever podcasts are found, Spotify, and we are there. I am Brandon, and you can find me on Twitter at the Scarlet Fan 52. Isaac, where can people
You can
find you and
find
your madness?
uh, and you can find me over at emblemaniac.com, and you can emblemaniac.com. You can find me over at emblemaniac, and you can find my work over at the Wobem Entertainment. And we are gonna start doing some other YouTube videos for Wobem specifically, starting with a spoiler review discussion of Metroid Dread,
Nice.
which
Can't
me
wait.
and Brandon is gonna do.
Oh,
Gonna
you
do
and
so.
Landon.
Maybe I don't. Someone else he knows also might join, but at
Awesome.
minimum it will be me and Landon.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We look forward to that and for more videos and more Wallbang content. Stay tuned for more amazing stuff here at the Amateur Talk Podcast. Have it awesome, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.